A while back when I was making my Chrono Trigger Medley, I thought it would be cool to film the process that I go through to make these videos. This video will mainly focus on the recording process that I go through and not the gear that I use. So I hope you enjoy. It's kind of a long video, but here it is. This is how I record. Okay, so the first thing I record is typically keyboard. I usually start with the instrument in the song that is the most constant, so I can record that and use that as my base sound to build upon and record everything else on top of that. Usually it's a synth sound or an orchestra, whatever it is, that's usually the first thing I record. The most common sound in all these songs is an orchestra, so I'm going to start with that. The way I record keyboards is with these stereo cables that plug into the right and left into the keyboard, and then they plug into this interface right and left, and then this interface goes directly into my computer so I can record straight to my computer. And I've been doing that for the last couple songs, and it's worked out really great. I can't imagine doing it any other way. I used to use a digital recorder before I got the interface. It worked really well, but it ended up crapping out on me, so I got this and it's been great. So when I'm about to record, I obviously have to know what to play. So I just listen to the song over and over, how many times it takes for me to get it. I learn, that's the word. That's a difficult word, learn. I was really deep in there. I learned everything by ear. It takes me some time to figure it out. I have to listen to the song over and over a million times. Sometimes songs are really easy to figure out, sometimes they're really hard. Like this Chrono Trigger Medley is probably the hardest thing I've ever attempted at. And Michelle helps a lot with that because she knows these songs better than anyone else and she knows how to play them. So when it comes to figuring out what sounds I want to use, I do the same thing. I listen to the songs over and over a million times and I write down on this notebook, I write down every single sound that I hear that I'm going to record. So it's like an orchestra or a brass or like a lead flute or whatever. I'm going to write all that down, and when it comes time to record that, I go through practically every single sound in this keyboard, which takes the longest time to do. That is the most time-consuming part of recording for me, is finding these freaking sounds. And I go through so many sounds, and I usually just, this is how it goes, I usually just go through this wheel and I listen and I just hit one note and go through every single one, and I usually just start staring into space, and then it's been like 2 hours and I completely forget what I'm doing, and then I just end up playing Grand Theft Auto or something, and it's just like I get sucked into this black hole where I'm just drooling, and it's like the next day and I haven't done anything. That's how recording is for me. Once I do find a sound I like, obviously I record it right away, and I also write it down. So if I do another song and I'm like, oh, that one sound would be perfect for this song, I can go back and look at what that sound was and just, take all the guesswork out in finding it. Sometimes I can't find the sounds within this keyboard, and I have to go into the settings in here and kind of make it myself a little bit. This keyboard allows me to do that, and I can really mess with putting weird effects like distortion and like phasers and whatever on anything, and delay, to make it sound more like the sound I'm trying to find, like in the original song. Once I record everything that's in the original song, I like to go back and add my own sounds in. I usually add a lot of synth sounds, like electronic sounds. Usually they're like low bass pulsing synth sounds or really high stuff. Just a bunch of crap I find while doing the same thing, spinning this wheel, listening, like, well, that's a cool one, like let's figure this out, and then I just kind of tap around, and it's usually really simple and subtle things, and I don't film it because it's usually just me on D, just holding this button down, and and you know, you wouldn't really want to see a video of that, just spooling this shit down. It'd be retarded. It would be dumb if I filmed that. So it would be really dumb.
Dumb.
So I don't do that. It wouldn't be intelligent. Along with adding synth sounds, I also like to add layers of orchestras, usually the same thing just in different octaves. And I also like to add brass sections like French horns or trombones. I found out if you add too much brass in your songs, it might sound like the basement theme to Resident Evil. And you don't want that. Maybe you do. And that also goes for adding too many synth sounds. I tend to add way too many synth sounds. Like the final product of my song is like I've deleted half of everything I've done, like more than half. And
Really?
Yeah, I tend to add a lot of stuff, and then when I listen to it, because I'll record something and then mute, and then like forget that that's on mute. And then I do that to a lot of things, and then I'll play back like, oh, these are all muted. And then I'll listen, and it's like Sonic, whatever that song is. It doesn't make sense. It's like two songs playing at the same time. I guess that's it. I'm going to start recording the intro orchestra to the very first song on this medley, and yeah, I'm going to start that right now. So. So after I'm done recording keyboard, the next thing I record is guitar or bass, either one, typically bass. I really love recording guitar, and I'm actually borrowing this guitar since I don't own one. And today is the last day I get to use it, so I have to record today. In my last couple videos, I've been using guitar a lot for that reason, because I don't know when I'm going to have to return it, and today I have to return it. I record guitar the same way with the interface and cables, and I actually record guitar and bass through this old effects pedal, which isn't that great, but it works for me. Probably sometime in the future, I don't know when, whenever I can find a good replacement, I'm gonna get a better effects pedal than this, but for now this one works great, and it's actually stereo output, which is a feature I really like. I really like recording guitar. It's not something I get to record that often, so when I have possession of guitar, I try to use it in as many songs as I can. I might, at some point in this medley, use this old nylon guitar that got fixed not too long ago. It's really old and not that great, and since it hasn't been working for like a year, I really want to use it somewhere in this song, so I'm gonna find a spot eventually. I love recording bass. This bass may look like a 4-string because of tuners, but it's actually 5-string, and the D string tuner actually broke off, and the reason I have it off is because it'll rattle if I keep it on, so I just take it off, and it looks kind of weird. Bass is the second.
Oh my god.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Bass. Oh, I gotta do that over again. Bass is my second favorite thing to record. I've been playing bass probably longer than anything else, and it's a lot of fun. I guess there's a lot of similarities between drums and bass guitar, so that's probably why I had the most fun with it.
I thought you were gonna say there's a lot of similarities between bass and guitar.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I haven't figured them all out. I'm onto something here. I record bass the same way. I have a setting on this effects pedal that I always use that I really like. damn it. Say that over again. I'm making this shit up so much as I go along. Oh yeah. I also use this effects pedal when I'm recording bass. I have a setting on here that I always use, and I don't really have to do much to it in editing. It sounds pretty good. Now, so after recording the keyboards, the bass guitar, the guitars, everything else, I record drums. I save drums for last because it's the part I have to worry the least about. I've been playing drums longer than anything else, so it's a lot easier for me to record drums than anything else. It's typically always the last thing I record and the part I look the most forward to recording. Because I listen to the song over and over again, recording everything else, I've had that much time with the song to think about my drum parts. So by the time I'm done recording everything else, when I record drums, I pretty much have all my drum parts already thought out. I haven't played them, but they're all in my head. So when I'm about to record and I play along with the songs, that's typically the first time I've ever played along with the song on drums. Sometimes I'll play the drums exactly like the original. Sometimes I'll do something completely different, like distorted drums with like a telephone effect or a phaser. Sometimes I'll add drums where there aren't drums in parts, and that goes with other percussion parts like bongos. Sometimes I'll add bongos or tablas, anything else that I can think of that might fit that part. Just like with recording the synth parts for songs, I tend to add a lot of extra parts that aren't in the song. And what happens a lot is that I'll come up with a part and then I'll record another part and here's something else, and I keep adding on and on and on. And by the time I've been recording for like an hour, there's like 20 new parts, and then when I go to edit it, I have to take a lot of them out because it's just, if I were to keep all the parts that I recorded, all the drum parts and all the synth sounds, it would sound like this. And that doesn't make any sense. So I have to take a lot of it out because it's just too much. But it's a lot of fun to add all that extra random crap. Before I record, I warm up a little bit. I'll do some patterns and just kind of fart around for like 20 minutes, and then I'll get bored of that, and then I'll just want to record right away. One thing I always do when I record drums is I always record to a metronome, and if you're a drummer, you know how important a metronome is, and even if you play guitar, you know, or piano, you play any instrument, you know how important a metronome can be when it comes to recording. So I always play to a metronome when I keep the BPM, which is beats per minute. I keep it the exact same time or tempo as the original song, and so I have to figure that out using a tap tempo that's on my keyboard. And once I figured out that tempo, I'll plug it in GarageBand and just record straight to the metronome. The way I record drums is the same way I record everything else. I use these stereo cables that plug into the interface. Same exact way I record everything else. Keeps it simple and I don't have to worry about just other crap. And just like with the keyboards, I try to make my own sounds within the brain of the software of the instrument. So in this thing, I can pitch down stuff if I want like a cymbal to be pitched down, or like a snare drum to sound really big and fat, I can pitch it down. There are hundreds of different sounds in this and different combinations of stuff. It pretty much has everything I need to record any drum part for any song. And it's all digital, which is nice, so it's all pre-EQ'd and takes all of the guesswork in mic and stuff. It's really easy. When I film drums, I try to use two cameras. The camera you're viewing now is my main camera, and I also have been using this smaller camera lately. For a long time I was trying to figure out how to mount this small camera up above to give like a bird's eye view of the drums. I tried a bunch of different ways with different tripods, and that was a disaster, and it just kept falling over. I figured this camera is really light, why don't I just freaking tape it to the ceiling? And that's what I do now. I just get some tape and I tape it to the ceiling, and it works perfectly. You never guess that this is just a taped camera on a ceiling. It adds a lot. I really love that bird's eye view. It's a totally different perspective of drums, and it just visually looks pretty cool. Some of you may or may not notice, but my drums are actually on a little stage, like a little drum riser. And the reason for this is for soundproofing. I have people who live below me at the moment, and with this kick drum, it's so, even though it's electric drums, that impact is still a low frequency and it travels straight to the ground, and it's just like someone walking really hard, like stomping on the ground. Because I would hate if someone above me was doing that. I looked online about how to soundproof electric drums in an apartment, and this tennis ball stage kept popping up, and I was like, what is this tennis ball thing? So I looked into it, and a lot of people swear by it, and they say it works great, no complaints, whatever. I thought I'd try it. So I got 2 pieces of wood and a good amount of tennis balls, and I drilled holes in there and zip tied it all together kind of loosely so there's enough space for the air and the sound and all that weird stuff. And it works great. I've used it on every song since I've lived here, and not one complaint. And some songs I do have double bass, and that's just the loudest you can possibly be on a bass drum. So if you're interested in building a stage like this for your recording studio or bedroom, whatever, I'm most likely in the future gonna make a video on how to build this stage. So just keep an eye out, because I'll probably post that video pretty soon actually. Since this is my main drum set, I'm always looking to expand and replace parts to make it more like an acoustic drum set. A couple months ago I added this 12-inch snare drum that's a little bigger than these normal 10 and 8-inch pads, and that's a lot closer to a real acoustic snare size. Actually, sometimes it is an acoustic snare size. There's 12-inch snares out there. Since I've added this, it's been great. It feels a lot more like a real drum set. It's just I don't have to worry about hitting this small space. It's just nice and big, and it just kind of, when you glance down real quick, it looks like, oh shit, it's a real snare. So that's it. That's pretty much how I record. I could go into a lot more detail, but the video would be way too long and really, really boring. So if I missed out on anything you wanted to know, just let me know down in the comments section. And if you're wondering why I'm in a ridiculously green room, it's because I converted this bedroom into a green screen room. And if you want to know how I did that, that will be in my next video. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know, because I can definitely make more of them. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it, and thanks for watching.